All right, I'm back at you live with a little budget sketchy today to remember these biostats terms, because I know if there's one thing we remembered so far, it's snout and spin, and that's probably about it. And maybe that's the only thing we remember so far, but that's okay because all we need to do is just memorize these formulas. And these 6 formulas seem a little bit complicated, but I promise it's not that bad. We're going to take variables from the 2x2 table and we're going to make them into equations. Now, the equations are going to be in the form of a over a plus b. They're going to be in the form of the equation a over a plus b. So we're going to have 2 of the same thing and then we're adding it to something else. Now, how in the hell are we going to remember snout, spin, the actual terminology for that? You ever been to one of those carnivals? Yeah. You ever remember one of these guys? You gotta spin to win. And what are you trying to win exactly? You're trying to win that first place prize. You're trying to win that number 1. And so to remember spin, all you gotta remember is, well, what are we spinning for? Spin to win. Spin to win first place or first prize. And so when we go back to this formula, the first thing we're going to write down is to win. That's the true negative. And that's going to be down here. We're going to write that twice. And then first place or first prize is going to be in the denominator. There is your specificity. Now, if you want to remember sensitivity for snout, you can just swap them. So true positives. No. Complicated, right? What are we swapping out? I don't know. Snout. Do you know what has a snout that kind of bothers me? Yeah. One of these guys. Alligators. So how are we going to remember that? Well, something has a snout and it bites me, like this guy, Coyote Peterson. Props to him for the picture, by the way. Snout. If an alligator has its snout on me, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm tapping out. Tapping out. No, supposed to emphasize the P. Tapping out. Because that is no fun at all. That is no fun. And so the first thing we're going to write down is those true positives. And then that's the T and the P there, tap out. And then the second thing is no fun, false negatives. All right, so there's 2 down. We've got spin to win first place and snout taps out. Not too bad so far, hopefully, beyond my terrible handwriting. Now, which of these 2 situations here is more negative, you would say? Getting your arm bit or spinning? I'd probably say the top one's a bit more negative, and we're going to make that even more negative. So to memorize the negative predictive value, we're going to take our snout taps out, so taps out, and that's no fun, FN. And we're going to make it even more negative. So all the positives, we're just going to change to negatives. So true negative over true negative plus false negative. And there's your negative predictive value. This one's a bit more positive, the carnival game, and we're just going to take that same formula that we used for spin to win, true negative over true negative plus false positives, and we're just going to make those negatives, positives. So true positive over true positive plus false positive. And there you go, there's your negative and positive predictive value. What do those mean? I mean, I could go over that in a different video, but point being is that that's the formulas. What about these likelihood ratios that they talked so much about? Yeah, they're a bit more confusing, but you're lucky that the positive one, we can be a little bit positive about it. You know, it makes a little bit of sense. The negative one makes less sense, and you'll see what I mean. The positive one makes sense because, well, we just write sense on the top. The negative one makes less sense. Actually, 1 less sense, exactly. So we're going to have 1 minus sense on the top. we're going to be using both sensitivity and specificity. And so you can remember that specificity is going to go on the bottom here, and specificity is going to go on the bottom here. Now, they both have to have a 1 minus less than, and you can remember that when you're doing the negative likelihood ratio. So you can remember that in the first one, it just makes sense, so nothing's next to it, and so the 1 minus specificity is going to be in the bottom, or that 1 minus in particular is what I'm talking about. And then in the negative likelihood ratio, it makes less sense because it's negative. And so we get 1 minus sense over specificity. And there you go. There's your 6 equations. Just go over them real quick. It's all in the form of A over A plus B. When we do spin, we spin to win first place. And so Tn over Tn plus Fp to win Fp. Snout taps out, and that's no fun. Snout taps out. Tp is going to be on the top, and then Fn's on the bottom. Which situation is more negative? We're going to take that formula and make it more negative. So true positives become true negatives, and that's about it. And then for the positive predictive value, which of these situations is more positive? We're going to take those negatives and we're going to make them more positive. So the true negatives become true positives, and that's about it. The positive likelihood ratio makes a little bit of sense, makes some sense. The negative likelihood ratio makes 1 less sense. And that's about it.